everyone. Welcome to this month's Kidneys in the Kitchen. I'm Megan Craig, Director of Programs for the National Kidney Foundation of Illinois. We're very excited to be here with a special episode this month celebrating Black History Month. So, ladies, I'm going to have you introduce yourselves. I'm here with two very impressive women. Althera?
Oh, hi, I'm Althera Steenes. I am a project manager and nutrition health educator at the University of Chicago. I'm also a certified diabetes empowerment educator for the DEEP program, and I also dabble in kidney nutrition education, and I'm happy to be here today.
Wonderful. Glad to have you.
I'm Dinee Simpson. I am a transplant surgeon at Northwestern Medicine. I do kidney, pancreas, and liver transplants. And I am so excited to be here for this special episode for Black History Month and with Althera to talk about something that is very near and dear to, I think, both of our hearts, because African Americans are at higher risk for kidney disease. We know that we are almost 4 times higher risk for kidney disease, and there are a few things that we want to say about that. One is the precursors to kidney disease, so diabetes, high blood pressure, some things that maybe not a lot of us know, but when we have those diseases, that will increase our risk for kidney disease. And I think the other thing that I would really like to point out is that knowledge is everything. I think when one of us may be diagnosed with kidney disease, particularly early stage or mid-stage kidney disease, there aren't a whole lot of symptoms that go with that. So it's very difficult to sort of wrap your mind around the fact that you have a kidney disease that will progress and lead to dialysis at some point. But what is very important to know is that there are some things that we can do to slow the progression of kidney disease, and so knowledge is power. And I'm very excited to learn more about what we can do from a dietary perspective. Food is obviously the center, I think, of all of our lives. And so knowing what we can do with food, what's good to eat for people with kidney disease, what's good to avoid. So I'm here to learn.
Absolutely. I'm excited.
Yeah, so hopefully we're all here to learn.
Yeah.
We do want to talk about a couple of programs we have available to help folks stop, hopefully, getting kidney disease in the first place. Our best program for that is our Kidney Mobile program. These are some free screenings we have coming up. We go all over the state of Illinois, but a lot in the Chicago area. So if you visit our website at nkfi.org, that's NKFI like National Kidney Foundation Illinois.org, you can find a full listing of screenings coming up. So, Althera, I think it's time for you to tell us how to eat better.
Oh, yes.
All right. Awesome. So what do you have for us today?
I do want to say that we were always taught that everything goes into a healthy diet. But we do probably need to learn, better portion sizes and better selections of different foods. And particularly with chronic kidney disease, when you have this, or diabetes, you do have to eat a little different. You can still have some of the things that you like to eat, but you do have to make some healthier choices. So today we brought some options of this and that, good and bad, or not necessarily bad, but good and better. How about that? So that we can talk about today.
Perfect.
Excellent.
Yeah. All right. So we have some items here for display.
Okay.
So why don't we start all the way over here?
Okay.
So I see we have cauliflower and we've got some frozen cauliflower.
Yeah, so cauliflower, so most of the foods that I brought that are the most nutritious for people living with kidney disease are either low in potassium, low in phosphorus, which are, the good nutrients that people with kidney disease can't filter those things in their kidneys, and it causes more destruction to their kidneys over time. So the foods that I brought today are just some great things that you see in the produce and grocery store in your local neighborhood that we can use to make it easier. So the cauliflower, so instead of using potatoes or even some rices, and you do have to be careful with brown rice, you can use cauliflower. As you can see, we have fresh cauliflower in the bag here, and we also have cauliflower in the bag, unless you know that which is already made for you. It's easy to pick up in the freezer section. So instead of potatoes, definitely potatoes which have high in potassium, which you need to stay away from, and also sweet potatoes, which are a little better than potatoes, but the best option would be the cauliflower. So you can turn the cauliflower into rice. You can turn it into potatoes. And we also have Chicago's own Oprah that's turned the cauliflower into a pizza crust. So it's a lot of great things that you can do to make your options healthier. So and then there are also different classes, more classes and more healthy eating classes that are available in the community. So I would check your local listings or maybe contact the National Kidney Foundation for that information.
Yeah, we'd be happy to help you find any of those.
Absolutely. We also brought bell pepper or red bell pepper, which are maybe less potassium and phosphorus as opposed to the other bell peppers. Great seasoning option if you want to put some seasoning in your food, if you're making a stew or a soup, and hopefully that soup is low sodium. We also brought a sweet onion, which is my favorite onion, which is why we brought that one.
I wondered why we brought that one.
You see that it's a pretty big onion, and you can go a long way with it. You can make it in a lot of dishes. Great seasoning as well. We also have salt and garlic. This is fresh garlic here. We also have Dr. Simpson, can you be our spokesman and hold the garlic up? This is a sea salt, and so. Here it is. Garlic. So this is a sea salt, and then it can be iodized salt, which is table salt, which is typically what people usually add to their food, which is not the best salt at all. Actually, no salt. Just remember that, no salt.
What about the salt substitutes, like the
Mrs. Dash?
Yeah, things like that.
Yeah. So I don't believe that they're high in phosphorus and potassium because they add different things to that. So you do want to. First of all, I probably should have said talk to your dietitian or your nutritionist educator to verify what's best for your individual plan. And again, these are just some tips about making some healthier choices. So we want to definitely put that out there as well. Sure. Whether it's sea salt, pink salt, or Himalayan salt, you still want to be careful with the portion sizes that you're using. But it's preferred. The bell pepper or the onion or the garlic powder. And so if you see anything powder, it's actually the dry and granulated version of that vegetable, which is better for you, which is fresh. So those are some great things that we can, substitute for things that are not great for people living with kidney disease.
And are there any recipes that you know of that are common that would use some of these things as substitutes rather than, say something that's usually got mashed potatoes in it or something like that? You could maybe use mashed cauliflower.
Absolutely. So, we're here for Black History Month, right? And so a lot of our community and our traditions, we use a lot of salt. We've even used like MSG, to add more flavor. I can't say the name maybe. So, but I do know a specific name. So we like flavor, right? We love that it has to taste good. But some of the options that we've been using are not the healthiest. So whether you make your own soups or you make your own stews, it's better to do, fresh options, fresh garlic, garlic powder, fresh vegetables to season with your food.
Sure, and those things do have a lot of taste, or red pepper flakes, or things like that.
Absolutely. Herbs, you can grow your own now. A lot of people have mini gardens. You can grow thyme and, some other oregano, basil. I had oregano one year and basil, and it just took over my kitchen. So I had to give it away. So, it's a lot of great things you could do to help season your food instead of using the actual sodium high in content.
Yeah, because of course we're always talking about high blood pressure being a precursor, especially in African American community, where almost 50% of adults have high blood pressure. That's it's an incredible number.
Yes, it's an incredible number, and salt can go a long ways towards making that worse. And I think that salt can creep into so many things. It's really challenging to find foods nowadays that don't have some salt in it. We have to get really good at reading our labels, but I think that's a great point that, we can really make our food taste good still without as much or any salt even with some
Absolutely.
of the natural things that you have here.
And I'm glad that you mentioned label. If we can take this item and we can look at the rice veggies, and we can bring that up to point out it's 0 grams of fat and no saturated fat, 20 grams of milligrams of sodium, and which is 1% of your daily value of salt intake. It does have fiber, right? Which is, helps get everything out. I like to just keep it real.
Fiber's good.
And fiber's good. And, it has 2 grams of protein. And so in working at the university with some patients living with kidney disease, a lot of people are not familiar with what potassium is. They're not familiar with what phosphorus is. So it's time to get educated and learn more about what you're eating and what you're putting in your body, and reading the nutrition facts as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I feel like something we hear a lot from people who call into the office is about how difficult it can be to be on 2 kinds of diets, essentially, right? A lot of people who have kidney disease started out with diabetes or high blood pressure,
Right.
and so they're maybe looking to use a salt substitute instead of actual salt, but then that contradicts the kidney diet. So it's and with diabetes, it's of course very difficult to find the right balance between protein and sugars, and so I know that can be a tough thing for people trying to balance all those different diets.
It's super tough. I mean, I'm learning more and more again about kidney disease, and I'm just shaking my head and saying, what can we help you eat? But we can definitely help you eat healthier, with more education.
For sure.
Okay?
Okay.
Yeah, great.
So I know that we were maybe going to discuss eggs as well. So we have whole eggs, and we have these egg whites, liquid egg whites,
Yeah.
which I think is all egg whites are liquid. I was wondering about that.
Yeah.
Like what the...
When you buy them, you mean?
Yeah. Just
so.
until you cook them.
Until you cook
They'd
them.
be a liquid, yeah. So...
So everybody knows that eggs has a measure of cholesterol in it, which is, of course, not good for with people with diabetes or high blood pressure as well, and as well as with kidney disease. So egg whites actually have very low phosphorus and very low potassium, and so you still get, the benefits of having the eggs. If you love eggs, and I love eggs as well, so eggs white would be a better option as opposed to regular eggs or even brown eggs.
And all that's in here is literally just the whites of eggs,
Just
right?
the whites of eggs.
So
yeah,
it's-
and so I hear people get egg white omelets all the
yeah.
time. Vegetable egg white omelet, which is delicious.
Delicious.
Yeah, so so it's a great option. And if we can go towards the milk as well, I'm not going to give my reservations about milk or dairy, so I actually do milk alternatives myself. But it is, come to find out, it's a better option for people living with kidney disease to do a milk alternative. You really don't miss the taste. Almond milk, cashew milk. They even have like a mix of flaxseed, cashew, and almond that looks just like milk and the same consistency, because some people have, issue with texture and taste and look. And then also, I'm not sure about soy, but soy is also an option, as well as coconut milk. So milk, they, add different preservatives and different things like that to cow's milk or animal milk. So we recommend that you people living with kidney disease and anybody just try an alternative milk. And today we brought almond milk.
Yeah, maybe we can do a little side by side with the ingredients. Let's see. There, that's better.
All right.
So calories are definitely higher in the regular milk.
Okay.
Fat is also high. Okay, so to be fair to regular milk, this is vitamin D milk, which is
So that's the whole milk.
yeah,
right?
that's whole milk.
So actually,
So it's a higher
they
content.
only recommend that babies have whole milk up until the age of 3. So if you are doing cow's milk, you should be doing 2%, 1%, or preferably skim milk, which has no fat in it.
I guess I'm sad to tell you that came straight out of my refrigerator then.
Okay, so we're here to learn, right? We're here to learn.
Yes.
We're here eager to learn. So the older we get, I think, Dr. Simpson, maybe you can attest to this, that a lot of people wind up finding more having lactose intolerance,
Absolutely.
and they're having more, indigestion problems and stomach problems, and it could be from, the dairy consumption. So I'm not as opposed to all the other things that we're eating. So it definitely has 3 grams of fat as opposed to a total fat of 8. And it has 1 gram of fiber, whereas milk doesn't have any fiber. So fiber is the Brillo pad of our insides. That's
Of
what I
your
thought.
digestive system.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I just
No, and I grabbed the vanilla flavoring,
Yeah.
so maybe more palatable too.
More
If it has
palatable,
a
yeah,
little
and it unsweetened tastes good, but
It
does. Vanilla always helps too as well.
Sure.
Yeah.
I think one thing that I'd like to point out, having gone through some of these switches, I switched from dairy to soy. I've done some switching, pulling back on the salt to some of the salt alternatives. Is that when we're used to a certain type of flavor and we grow up with a certain type of flavor, when we first change to that, it's hard.
Yeah.
It's really hard. But, something that I did that I feel really works is when you kind of mix to a half and half, and then you eventually get to doing all of that thing. And then you don't miss, what you used to have. And I mean, now with doing a lot of these alternatives, it's, what I know now. And I mean, they're very delicious.
Yeah,
they're
that's
just
an excellent
different.
point. Excellent
They're just
point.
different.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, all of this stuff, I would say, at least in my opinion, is not bad tasting. It's just different tasting.
It is different tasting.
But some also are very similar. I think you do have some great similar options here. But, it's hard for us to change habits, especially when they're like things that we've grown up with.
Yeah.
But in the interest of health, I think it's an important thing to do, an important change to make.
And that's smart about the mixing it sort of more proportion one way or the
gradual,
other.
it's kind of like dipping your toes in the cold pool,
That's a smart way to do it. I never really thought about it.
Just ease your way in.
Easier way in. I like that.
I like it.
And
like
I
it a
think
lot.
that over the years, I think my generation, we have all these incidents of chronic disease, right? So where did they come from? What's the link from years ago to now? And I think it's food, in our food selection, and us not being physically active, and as well as portion sizes, which we can go into next or whenever you want to go into.
So I just wanted to take everyone back to our website really quickly, just to show, as we did last time, that our website has a lot of great resources, including these diet and nutrition resources. So we do have recipes on here, but also we have just some general eating well information and our dialysis diet cookbook, as you all will recall, as well as, of course, this video series, which we're hoping really helps you out as well.
Yes.
So we wanted to talk a bit about portion size, because I think it's probably something that I know I personally am terrible at. You get some fries in front of me and I'm going to eat them until they're gone, no matter how many there are.
I love fries.
So yeah, they're delicious, but not awesome for your kidneys. So
Or in general.
Yeah. So,
Yes.
so talk to us a bit about portion size.
Portion size is super important, right? So I was taught and learned myself. I was 260 pounds in 2003, and it took me a year to lose about 60 pounds, and I've been able to keep it off for the most part, and just changing my diet. So just because we're telling you to try an alternative to eating healthy, it doesn't mean you need to overconsume, right?
Sure.
And so some of us eat too much or eat too much of the bad things and not enough of the good things, but portion sizes are super important. So I just bought a few of my food models to point out the importance of food, portion sizes. So this is actually a baked chicken leg. This is actually the whole chicken leg with the drum and the thigh, and to see it fits in the palm of my hand. So the palm of your hand represents about 3.5 or 4 ounces, 3 to 4 ounces of a meat or a protein. And I also brought a pork chop. So here, that does not fit in the palm of my hand.
It sure doesn't.
So this is actually 8 ounces. Okay, so again, some people say, well, they said to eat, this, and I should try that. Pork chops are, they can be good, and, with limitations, but they also have natural sodium in it, which is not good for a person living with kidney disease.
Of course.
I brought carrots, which is, the serving size would be a half a cup, but if good to eat, a nice amount of serving sizes for your vegetables. I did bring bacon. Everybody loves bacon, right? Everybody loves bacon. It smells so good, but I can't do it. But but this is actually 10 grams of fat, and in addition to, again, this one slice.
I almost wish I didn't know.
Oh, yeah. See, that's what people, they don't want to know. They don't want to know the truth. And this is, a lot of sodium and, a few slices. So as far as like the size, as far as like the ounces, you can, of course, 2 to 3 pieces of bacon in size, but look at you're eating 30 grams of fat and and the plus pancakes, eggs, grits, all that. And I also have a taco. It has lettuce, tomato, a little cheese, and has beans in it. And so that's also another source of protein. You don't always have to have meat as a protein. And this is a corn taco.
Actually, at the foundation, we started promoting Meatless Mondays. So if anyone wants to participate in that with us, it's not a formal thing, but we're all just trying to not eat meat on Mondays, see if we can preserve that tiny bit of kidney function, if only on Mondays.
That would be great for your kidneys, along, with the ample water, something to filter you. And we talked about fries. So here you go. Maybe, so this is probably like an order of fries for you, maybe.
Oh, I think I could
But if you all can tell me what's the serving of fries, the actual serving. So how many fries in one serving?
Oh.
Is it like 5? It's something horrible, isn't it? It's like 5
so
fries.
you mean what is the typical serving that we would get in a restaurant, or
No.
the recommended
What
serving?
is the recommended serving?
Oh,
Is it even 5 fries?
I would say 20 fries.
Oh, I'm in the middle. It's 12. 12 to
fries.
15.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm sorry.
No.
That's going to kick me out of the studio.
It's all right. I don't think anyone's ever actually eaten 12 fries, but I mean,
Now
good to
we
know.
Yeah. Well, when you learn better, you do better.
It's true.
This is deck of cards, again, just to point out serving size, to kind of, let you know what it should look like. And everybody loves the salad dressing, so this is really a tablespoon, and that's the serving size. And, Dr. System's like, yeah, right.
Yeah.
So.
It's just
But
because I see, I do it in my house, we all do it in our house.
Okay,
I mean, we use much more than that.
But if you try it, this really is enough. So, in addition to, making healthier choices to eating, you also have to pay attention to your portion sizes, which should make a big difference if you're trying to lose weight or if you need to maintain your weight.
Of course.
So I have a couple of questions I want to ask you. One is, when we talk about the portion size of salad dressing, I feel like the perception, at least in my household, is that salad dressing is just this liquid and it can't be that bad.
No, well, that's not true, right?
Yeah.
And so again, that goes back into reading a food label and reading how, how many grams of fat it is, how much sodium, because there's a lot of sodium sometimes in salad dressing, unless you make it yourself.
Right.
It's, really great recipes. I'm sure you guys have recipes for salad dressing on your website or Pinterest or different Google, Google, and then, to learn about how to make your own salad dressing, but they do. And then they also have a lot of phosphorus and potassium as well.
So it's great to know, because I think that there are so many things that seem so harmless to us that actually can, just by modifying, this, you can make a huge difference in a meal and what you're taking in.
Absolutely.
The amount of sodium. We actually made a salad dressing a few weeks ago from a family recipe, and I didn't realize, it called for a cup of olive oil. That's a lot.
That is a lot of fat. Healthy fat, but only to a certain point, right? There's a point at which it's just too much.
When you put all of it together, you realize all the stuff that's in there, and you're like, okay, well, maybe I should be
But
doing
but that's the cup of olive oil, right? And then but you're making it for your family, and you're going to reuse it again.
Yeah, hopefully not eating all that at once.
Right, well, that's where it comes to portion size.
Yes, that is where portion size comes in.
Yes.
And a lot of them have sugar in them, too. I know our family salad dressing recipe has half a cup of sugar in it. So.
They do. So we do, it's some great things that you can do with your family to maybe modify a healthy recipe or a traditional recipe that you've had for over the years. All of the summer holidays are coming up, the grilling and different things like that. So we just encourage people to make healthier choices.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Another clarification, just for everyone, and I know this is something that has come up also in my family, is when we say meatless, are you referring to red meat or are you including poultry in that definition?
So we've been including poultry, but maybe we shouldn't be. I don't know.
What would you say?
You know what? Honestly, I never thought about that because when you say meatless, I mean like no meat. It's all vegetarian meals. So, fresh fruits and vegetables for that day. Even if you have, some cauliflower to be in the place of your potato. But I don't, associated with poultry. But I guess, it can be considered that. But I think any kind of animal protein is and goes into
That was
meatless.
what we were.
Yeah,
we were talking about
meatless
animal
Mondays.
protein as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So would you consider poultry part of Meatless Mondays?
Well, I mean, I was just looking to learn from a dietary perspective if we should be avoiding, all animal protein, as you said, or if we should just be avoiding red meat. I mean, when you say meatless, I think of all meat.
All, yeah.
But I think that, say for my father, if you say meatless, he means no steak.
No steak, yeah.
Right.
And I know, the red meats are definitely, they're their own own animal. I guess that's a weird way to say that, but like they're their own thing, right? Where there are possibly more, heart-related effects. It's higher in fat in general. The way it's cooked often makes it less healthy.
Yes.
So there are a lot of people who would definitely advocate for avoiding red meat altogether.
Yeah.
I don't think poultry would necessarily be included in that.
Okay.
That said, for our Meatless Mondays, we're trying to go for the lower your protein intake in general.
Yes.
And so
Absolutely.
try using alternatives for this one day a week.
Okay.
Yes. And also, as far as Meatless Mondays, they have veggie grillers or veggie, it's really like oats and different things like that and nuts. And they, make it into meat. And it looks great. It tastes just like meat. It may have a high salt content. You want to be careful. But again, reading your nutrition facts, but choosing the most healthier one would be an option as well.
Sure.
I recently made a vegetarian chili, and that's what I used. And I got a lot of calls to have some, but I'm sorry that we ate that up. So,
That's what we use in my house too. Instead of red meat, we use the alternative.
yes.
Yeah, the soy-based ones.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
But I think they are pretty high in salt.
They are.
I
think they might.
If I remember, I think we need to watch our portions on that
We
one
do.
for sure.
We
So,
do. Yeah.
all right.
Yes.
Well, ladies, thank you so much for being here for this
Thank
special episode. We hope you have all learned something, have something to take away from this episode, and we'll look forward to seeing you again next month. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.